Hey, what is up you guys? In today's video, we are going to be checking out every single Spinosaurid figure that I have in my collection. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right into it.
And first up, we have the first Spinosaurid figure that ever hit my collection, this being the Legacy Collection Spinosaurus. And this figure is absolutely phenomenal. This is by far one of the rarest Mattel Jurassic World figures out there, so it makes this figure extra special. And just getting the rare part of this figure aside, this figure still has a very good sculpt. I mean, just look at it. Mattel did a pretty good job for their first time doing the Spinosaurus. But I will say, though, there are a couple of things that are off about this figure. And the main thing being the proportions, as too big of feet, too small a tail, and too small of a sail, and maybe too chunky of teeth. But again, this was Mattel's first time ever doing the Spinosaurus, and I still think that they did a pretty good job. I mean, just look at it. It looks menacing, just like the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus, and it's even good at posing. But let's just go ahead and move on to the next Spinosaurid in my collection. And next up, we have my second Spinosaurus figure I ever got, this being Limbo the Baryonyx. So, Limbo the Baryonyx. This is, like I said, the second Spinosaurid figure that I ever got, and I do think it is pretty cool. I mean, it's not the best Baryonyx figure that we've ever gotten because this still uses the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom sculpt, and that's a little bit outdated. But here's the action feature. It just has a basic chomping feature, but I do like this figure a decent amount. Let's go ahead and move on to the next Spinosaurid figure. Next up, we have a dinosaur that not a lot of people are probably familiar with, this being the Siamosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion. So yeah, the Siamosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion. I don't exactly know how to pronounce this, so don't quote me on that if that's not the right name. I guess just let me know in the comments if I pronounced it right. But this figure is still pretty cool, as you guys can see right now. It has a pretty good sculpt. I don't think this is exactly accurate to what the dinosaur actually looked like back in the day, because this obviously hasn't been in the Jurassic movies, but it does stand on all fours. I don't think that this dinosaur actually did stand on all fours. I'm pretty sure it stood on two legs, but I still think that it is very cool looking in my personal opinion. I do like the thing that is on the back of its tail. That's like a sail, just like the Rebirth Spinosaurus. And let's just go ahead and get on with the action features. It does have some pretty cool ones where if you move the tail around, it can move its head around. And then it also has a button where it can chomp too, so I think that is very awesome. But yeah, this has been the Siamosaurus, and let's go ahead and move on to the next Spinosaurid figure. Alright, and next up we have my second favorite dinosaur right behind the T-Rex, this being the Suchomimus. So here we have the Jurassic World Chaos Theory Suchomimus, and yeah, this guy has appeared in a couple of my videos recently because it is my second favorite dinosaur. It is my second favorite dinosaur right behind the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I just think that this figure is awesome. I mean, look at how many scars and detailing is on this figure. It is just outstanding, and I also love the color scheme that they did use on the Suchomimus in the show because it looks very much like a snake. And this figure also gets a plus because it has the smaller feet, and just look at the front shot of it. It looks gorgeous, but this figure also has a really cool action feature where if you just move the tail side to side, it snaps, which I do think is very awesome. And here's a front shot of it, and then it can also go up and down as well. But the Suchomimus is a very, very awesome figure, but let's go ahead and move on. And next up, we have a fairly recent figure, the Rebirth Tail Thrasher Spinosaurus. So here we have the Rebirth Spinosaurus, and this figure is another phenomenal figure. As you guys can see right here, this figure looks almost one-to-one to what we see in Jurassic World Rebirth, and I also do really like this design, and this figure definitely has a lot of good detailing, just like what we see in the movie. I mean, this figure is just awesome. I mean, the Rebirth figures, Mattel did a phenomenal job on them compared to a lot of the other mainline figures that we have gotten. And this figure also has the sharper teeth, just like I said. They've done a really outstanding job. And this figure has the best action feature out of any mainline figure I've ever seen, where you can actually wind up if you press this button, and it makes noises and does like a slashing feature, which I think is incredible. But yeah, the Tail Thrasher Spinosaurus is amazing, but let's go ahead and move on. And next up, we have basically the exact same figure that we just looked at, this being the Spinosaurus Danger Set Spinosaurus. So yeah, like I said, this figure is basically the exact same as the Tail Thrasher Spinosaurus. The only difference is, though, is that it is smaller and it does have a different paint job. And I mean, it still looks awesome, again, because they just use the same thing. But another thing that is also different is that they use basic articulation instead of giving it an action feature, which I do like because it is easier to pose this way. And yeah, I just think it was really good. But there's really not much more for me to say about it. I guess a plus, I think it is better in scaling next to the humans than Tail Thrasher Spinosaurus is. But yeah, this figure is just really awesome. But let's just go ahead and move on to the last figure. And next up, we have my favorite figure in my collection, the Hammond Collection Spinosaurus. So yeah, if you guys have watched my channel for a while, you know that I have the Hammond Collection Spinosaurus because it's basically in every single one of my videos. So if you guys were watching this, you were probably expecting for this guy to come. But this figure is just amazing if we're just going to get into it. This is the best figure Mattel has ever put out by far. I mean, it has... Look at the sharp claws. That just looks awesome. I mean, there's not a lot for me to say about this figure because I've rambled about it for forever in many different videos. But this figure is just awesome, and obviously I have to feature it on here because it's a Spinosaurid figure. But yeah, to sum it up, this figure is incredible, and that has been all my Spinosaurid figures.
Alright guys, and that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have not yet, make sure to please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell to turn on post notifications so you'll never miss another video. And if you'd like to support the channel a little bit more, consider purchasing a channel membership. Link in the description, and you can also press the join button next to my name. And let me know in the comments what your guys' favorite Spinosaurid figure that I have in my collection. And this has been Erwin Goji 14, signing out. Bye guys.